Tennessee is known for its barbecue, and at Central Barbecue, they take it to another level. It can be easy to find a barbecue place here in the state of Tennessee, but when you're looking for the best, that is a no-brainer. Central Barbecue is the place that's on your mind and my mind right now because it's the lunch hour and we're getting close. There's no place that can provide you the environment, experience, and quality of food that Central Barbecue can. It all started back in the 80s at a barbecue contest. During the World Championship Barbecue Cooking Contest, the founders of Central Barbecue, Craig and Roger, met, became friends, and found out how to bring competition-style barbecue to your table in a restaurant concept. Inside, you'll find a relaxed and fun atmosphere where you can hang out, enjoy, relax, and eat some of the best barbecue, the best barbecue that the state has to offer. So to find the location nearest you, go to eatcbq.com. That's eatcbq.com.
Good afternoon. It is 101 from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Jackson Williams. Got an update on Ryan Tannehill from Jeff Darlington. Unlike last year when the Titans quarterback suffered a similar ankle injury, Tannehill will not require surgery this time around. He's currently in a cast, diagnosed with a high ankle sprain, and there's no definitive timeline for recovery, but overall, good news. Tannehill was not the only quarterback in the AFC South who went down on Sunday. Trevor Lawrence has what Adam Schefter described knee sprain that is not a significant thing, but it is uncertain whether Lawrence can play Thursday night at New Orleans, and the Jags will determine that as the week progresses. Backup quarterback for the Jags is C.J. Beathard. And in college football, Pete Thamel reports Georgia All-American tight end Brock Bowers is having tightrope surgery on his injured ankle. He's expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks. Bowers currently has 41 catches, 567 yards, and 4 touchdowns on the season for the Bulldogs. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 Zone. What's up, everybody? Lucas Panzica holding it down by himself today, just getting the job done. Now you got us two knuckleheads for the next 2 hours. We got our man Joseph in there ready to just make things happen. His assorted number of flannel shirts. I got a real question to ask everybody, though.
Oh, I know what it is.
Do you know?
I'll be tracking you.
Okay.
You tell me if I'm right. Let me guess. I'm going to guess.
This is...
This is...
It's not even breaking news.
It is breaking news to me.
Okay.
Do you or have you...
That's it.
Turned on your heat already?
That's it.
I knew it. My wife told me she saw it on your Facebook.
Dude. Every year.
Yesterday, she told me that. She said, Mickey posted this. I said, oh, yeah, we already turned our heat on.
It has like 100 responses.
That was a great question. Yeah, she was.
Food and HVAC get the biggest responses from anybody besides political, religious stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, which food or have you turned on your heat yet?
Yeah.
People go nuts for that.
I thought it was a great question.
Because it's gotten kind of chilly. So if you don't have the heat on, it's probably 60-something degrees in your house right now.
Yeah, 60, 65.
Okay, you're at 65. Have you
So I had to turn on my heat. And this was 2 days ago.
And you like it cold in the house.
I do. So here's what made her bring it up. Because I have the heat on, and it's only like on 72. So
Okay.
it's low, so it feels like, oh, nice and cozy,
Right.
right? You know? We get ready to go to bed, you know. She goes, well, when she was about to go to bed, it's like 9:30. I like, I got the fireplace. Did you just turn on the air? Yeah, you know I cannot sleep at night when it gets warm and I can't breathe.
Yeah.
So she turns on the air and puts it on 68 at night.
Last night.
Yeah. That's why she set me up. She set it up to like, hey, I saw Mickey posted that they turned on the heat. We've been turning on our heat for a couple days.
I haven't turned it on yet. I just asked people.
I thought that's what she was meaning.
Yeah.
And then I go, well, yeah. And then when she goes to bed, she's like, I'm about to turn the air back on. Huh? How about like you just don't turn the heat off?
Right.
Because it will stay.
It'll take care of itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Nope. Mm-mm. I'm up here all last night. So I've chattered myself to sleep. Yeah. Yeah. You see what you caused in my house?
I was just asking because this is years ago. It was right around the same time, middle of October, where it could be 80 degrees one day and it could be, 55 the next. And I said something to somebody like, yeah, man, it was cold last night. I turned the heat on. And that guy looked at me like I was crazy.
Oh.
You did what? I said, turn the heat on. It was cold in the house. That guy lost his mind. I said, what's wrong? And he said, you don't turn your heat on in the South till November. I said, what? There are people who have staunch philosophies on this.
Oh, really?
Several. Every year I ask it on Facebook and Twitter. Every year. You can go back. You can search
I
my
didn't even see
timeline.
it. Did you on Twitter too?
Put it on Twitter too. I mean, I had a poll. Have you
I
turned
missed
your
it.
heat on yet in your house? I'll have to
I was wondering because I said, oh, he should post that. And I was about to text you immediately, and then she distracted me.
Oh, okay. Well, it was cold in there.
Yeah,
She had to distract
going
you.
on. I'm trying to win my, my conversation on. Hey, we should just turn it off, not turn the air on.
It'll regulate itself for
Yeah.
sure.
No,
So
she doesn't buy into that.
So 576 votes. Yes, 54%. No, 46%. But like Scoob, who we've met and calls in sometimes, windows are open. I'm enjoying the weather. 3HL for life. Nope, the windows are open. Ashley says, I'm holding out for now, but not sure how much longer I can hang. The wood floors are ice cold. And then a bunch of people turned it on last night. Tanya said, I just turned it on a few minutes ago, LOL. Whoever Goody is on Twitter said, weak Southerners.
Oh, my.
Mr. A said, is it December? Then no.
Oh.
This is a real thing with people. People just.
I didn't know it was a real thing because, I'm used to it being cold. But I've gotten definitely acclimated to the South and Tennessee. And, yeah, man, this is like cold. Like in Indiana, people are still wearing shorts and sweatshirts to class right now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right. If I went back there, I'd be like, hey, man, where's your coat? And I was one of those people. Like, where's your coat? Like, you don't have a jacket? Man, you're not cold. Where's your stocking cap? Not
You
a
got
hat.
yours on today.
Oh, yeah. Guess what? It's cold. It's cold to me now. This is horrible. I am now cold. Like, hey, man, I got to have a jacket. I was like, dang, should I put my vest on? And then, I don't know what I'm going to get when we're inside here, whether the heat is on or the air conditioner on. I feel like I'm at home. I have no idea what's going to be happening in the studio as far as the temperature.
Oh, no, it's usually cold in here.
Yeah. So, and I get it. You got a big building and everything else. So, so I just try to dress accordingly. But yeah, man, this is a big deal. Hey, call in. Yeah.
You can let us know. You can also ask any Titans questions because we're going to talk a lot about that today. We got what caught your attention in the first hour of the program. We got Coach Mack. We can ask him the things that caught his attention from the Titans game. Let's take a couple of these phone calls. Just right. Joseph from Brentwood. Joseph, you got your heat on yet?
Don't have it on just yet, but we're getting close.
Okay.
I'm from Florida, though, so it won't be long.
All right. Well, what else you got for us, man?
Yeah, so, it sounds like Titans brass is obviously keen on moving on from Tannehill and Henry at the end of the season, right? Like, this was sort of their last dance, and it's not really working out. Well, the whole D-Hop free agency situation, like, that was a pretty big deal, and I don't think he had signed up for a rebuild. So I guess, what do you think the chances are that we would try to flip him before the trade deadline if things don't get better? And what do you think we could realistically get for him?
I appreciate the phone call, Joseph.
What was the question?
Realistically, do we think they could try to flip guys like Tannehill and Henry before the trade deadline?
Oh, well, realistically, I think you're open to all phone calls for all players, especially those that can bring some type of value, even though it probably is not what you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to lose those two players that he mentioned, Derrick Henry and Tannehill, for nothing with their contracts being up. So if it were me, but it's not. They've been going against me the whole entire time. I said I'd blow everything up and rebuild. They're afraid of that word and move on. I think competitive spirits, I think Vrabel wants to continue to believe that they can win and that, with Tannehill, they can make that happen. If not, then it's Tannehill's injury forcing them to do something they don't want to do, and that's to start preparing for next season. So I don't know the extent of his injury. They're saying it's kind of the same it was in the beginning. So he could be back in 2 weeks, maybe with limited amount of practice. But at the same time, if he looks bad, then you're going to throw one of the young guys out there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I would be open to all of that. I think you mentioned Autry yesterday. I think that's a great one because they can get a lot of value in a short window there for another team, and they don't have to pay him very much because he's pretty much his last year of his deal.
Yep.
And he's a $7 million guy. So about the time that happens, he'd be $3.5 million. So if you want to give a late pick for them, I also, and this is going to sound crazy, besides Tannehill, and actually Byard's always going to be in this conversation because of all the things that happened this offseason. I think I would throw D-Hop in there. Yeah. And people can say, that's crazy. He's one of the best. Yeah. He's one of the best. Guess what? I need to get value. And actually, I'm helping him at the same time, too. If I send him to a winning team or a playoff contending team, like who were the Chiefs wanted to get him for, minimum.
Right.
Well, I bet they take him right now for whatever it is.
Whatever his deal is.
Issues too, right? Every receiver.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, that's just the way it is, and that's the situation right now. I think it has to slap him in the face for Vrabel to really accept it. I don't think he's accepted at all. He's not throwing in the towel. He's going to continue to fight. I don't think he's going to trade any player, and he's going to let his ego not do what's best for the organization. And he's just thinking for the here and now. Mm-hmm. And I think it's time. I think Tannehill's injury kind of just put it over the top for me. I mean, it's just you're going to say, oh, well, sure. We don't know what those players, those young players can do. Behind this offensive line, you think probably not as well as Tannehill. So we shall see. Then they may not have any, great players to throw to or good players. So I just, that performance, these last 2 weeks, I think, and then how Vrabel's doing these press conferences,
mm-hmm.
There's something about his mood and the way he's going about this that he's a little irritated, and I don't know from what. Mm-hmm. I have no idea. Everybody else are there, and I'm not there at any of his pressers besides listening to actually what he's saying. And just the volunteer information about benching players, I think he's fed up. And so to me, he needs to read himself, and that's telling him to move forward instead of continue to fight to try to win now. Mm-hmm. You're building for next year and hopefully those quarterbacks, whatever one it may be. If it was me, and I've been totally against this, Malik Willis development, I'm looking at it from Vrabel's shoes too, by the way. If it was me and I'm Vrabel and I'm sitting in his shoes and they drafted Will Levis, he drafted, Malik Willis, but that wasn't his guy. So I'm going to start the game with Malik Willis because I'm following my whole philosophy of what I said about all the players that he was talking about benching or who to put in there. You let them play themselves out of being the starter, and I don't think that'll take very long. Malik Willis. Now, if it was me, we would have had Dobbs on the team, and this would be a perfect time to put him in there, and then now we could still compete and try to win. See that? Another decision that I disagreed with. So I would start Malik Willis, see what he does. We'll see with him starting what he can do. I think it'd be pretty quick if he's adjusted to the speed of the game and going through his progressions. I know a lot of people will say they're frustrated with that. Well, only reason why I'm giving him that shot, though, is because of what I saw in his development this offseason. And how much strides he's made as a quarterback. Now I need to see live bullets. We saw him do it in preseason, but we all know the speed of the game is much faster. And then he got in the game when they were just, balls to the walls. They were coming after the quarterback because they knew they had to throw.
Sure.
So I want to see him start, see if he can continue to grow. But if not, I got the trigger after that. Maybe a quick trigger in that game, but if not, the next week I'm going to go on. Start with Levis, so then now we can see, and then he's on the uptick, and then once you make that decision, if he goes 1 for 19, watch this, there is no turning back. You don't look back. He's going to go have some ups and downs. He's going to play horrible. You stick with him the whole way. That's why I'm saying wait. Then now everybody knows that they don't want Malik Willis and he's not the guy.
Right.
Well, regardless of what Levis does, we're going to stick with him.
Right.
Because he's our guy. So you're setting him up for hopefully success. Like even when he has some stumbles,
nobody's looking over his shoulder.
Right? Yeah, you're not having. Put Malik Willis back in there. He was better than that. Well, no, because you saw him. You saw him. I mean, he's not. He's not. So now let's go forward.
Well, we need to go forward to the next segment. What caught your attention from the sports world? Was it something Vrabel said? Was it something Big Jeff said? Was it something anybody said? What was it that caught your attention from the sports world? We always do that in the first hour of the Tuesday show. I got a couple. I'm sure the fellows do too. 615-737-1045. You can hit us up in the F&M Bank Chat. If you're watching anywhere online, you can also tweet us at Blaine and Mickey. All right, let's talk to all you ladies and gentlemen who are dealing with hair loss out there. You got to have a game plan, right? We're talking about the Titans a lot, how maybe they could use a different game plan. Well, maybe your game plan so far has been wear a hat, or guys, get your hair buzzed, or ladies, maybe you get just kind of creative with how you style your hair. Look, you don't have to do any of that stuff. You can just go to We Grow Hair, to PAI Medical Group, WeGrowHair.com, and guess what? They can have your own hair growing on your own head again. Then there's no more trickeration with it. You just have the real stuff growing, and they've got the best technology in the business. And they have different ways of doing it, right? Maybe you're more of a ground game or a passing game. Well, guess what? They have different plans that work for different people, but they can't help you if you don't call. And if you call, they'll even do a free consultation, right? They'll show you, here's what you got, here's how you got to where you are, and here's how we can fix it. Then you either do the plan or you don't, and I would suggest that you do. WeGrowHair.com. Again, permanent, natural results from the company you can trust, PAI Medical Group, WeGrowHair.com. I'm just going to keep saying that website. Don't wait. Get that free consultation today. Tell them I said, hey, 615-376-6010. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. What caught your attention from the sports world? You can let us know, 615-737-1045. That'll get you on. Somebody in the chat, yeah, it would be too far because we're getting a whole bunch of people talking today, said, just trade some guys for first-round draft picks. That caught my attention because I pulled this up yesterday. Blaine knows that I love any type of minutia. I like stats and old stats, and I like all this kind of stuff. I love it. So I started looking at, here's on ESPN, this from last year, every deal that was done at the 2022 NFL trade deadline. Here's all of them. Do you know how many of them involved a first-round pick changing hands? How many of there? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's like 20 deals, 19 or 20. How many of them do you guys think involved the exchange of a first-round pick?
A first-round pick?
Yep. And some of
season?
them are for a person and some picks, or a pick and some persons, or two persons and some picks. You can't.
I'm gonna say zero. Hey, go ahead. You can give your guess. A first-round pick?
Mm-hmm.
What was the say the question one more time.
How many of the trade deadline deals from last year involved a first-round pick?
Christian McCaffrey was not last year, was he?
It was.
He was.
He was
I'm
not.
gonna say.
He was not.
No, he was a bunch of other picks. But,
Okay.
Can I say 2?
okay, it's right between one. You guys were essentially both.
Oh man, one.
You would have gone over there on the Price is Right, Blaine.
Because it was the Bradley Chubb.
The
right?
Bradley Chubb trade.
Oh my.
Bradley Chubb and a 2025
Dolphins.
fifth rounder, and the exchange was Chase Edmonds, who's a running back, a 2023 first rounder, and a 2024 fourth rounder. But like Chase Claypool, who that's already blown up, he just got traded straight up for a second round pick. But like Dean Marlowe, a safety, got traded for a seventh rounder. Rashad Fenton got traded for a conditional seventh rounder. This was an interesting, because we both like both of these guys. The Bills and the Colts, Zach Moss for Nyheim Hines. And then Nyheim Hines returned those kickoffs for touchdowns.
But it got hurt.
Zach Moss and a conditional 6th-round pick. But like fourth rounder, a fifth rounder and a conditional fourth rounder, a fifth rounder, a sixth rounder. These are for each of the deals. Then you had Chase Edmonds, a first and a fourth. Claypool went for a second. TJ Hawkinson, that's a pretty good player. He went along with a fourth rounder and a conditional fourth rounder for a second and a third.
Roquan, he's a kind of a star player at his position.
Yeah.
Like he's top 10 at
And
position.
then Roquan Smith, who's just a bad mofo. That's the technical term for it. He got traded for another linebacker, A.J. Klein, a second rounder and a fifth rounder. Kadarius Toney, who's like, the Chiefs like, okay, we can get anything out. We'll get it out of him. What they traded to the Giants for him, a third and a sixth. Robert Quinn, medicine woman, got traded for a fourth rounder. So it's all fourths and fifths and sixths and sevenths.
That's what you're going to get.
So when the Titans start selling all these people off that some of y'all are saying, just trade them and get some, you're going to get fourths and fifths and sixths and seventh and conditionals and things like that.
How many picks do they have next year?
The Titans, some services say they have 5. Some say they have 6. It's just the difference of one extra seventh rounder that was conditional from a previous trade.
Do we know, not what number, but do we know what rounds those picks are?
1, 2, 4, 7, 7, 7. 1, 2, 4, 7, 7, 7.
So that means I'm all in on this. Some
So
of these
no
middle round
third,
picks.
no fifth, 1 4th.
Yeah, I'm all in on this. Yeah, I'm in, man.
If you get-
I don't know if we can get that though from D-Hop, Byard, Autry, Tannehill, injured, King. So I don't know. It depends on, like, could you see the King? Watch this. I'm trying to sell it in a Dallas Cowboys uniform. With
Oh, are
Pollard.
you trying to Eddie us, man?
Yeah. Not Eddie. This is a trade. This is not a free agent signing.
Oh, I know that.
That's NFC. Can't go to no AFC team. I will not. I'd be dang if I come back and have to play you, bro.
But what if they offer a third?
Well, then I have to really consider.
That'd be high. We're looking at real results from last year. A third would be a lot.
Yeah, I think Henry. What made me think of Dallas because I think Henry lives there. I know he trains there in the off season.
They don't have anybody like him. They like to run the football.
Then he replaces Zeke, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Pollard's not the guy. And then, I watched him last night, so that's what made me think about it.
I watched it too.
I already said D-Hop to like the Chiefs. Oh, see, I'm trying to help these guys out, man. So you go somewhere where these superstar, freakish type athletes, where you put them who are borderline Hall of Fame players. I'm never going to say that they're automatically in because it's not that easy, but they should be. And now put them with a team that's going to be a playoff team that has a shot at the bowl. So now they can kind of end their careers, maybe these next 2 or 3 years, on a high note with a really good team, and they had a shot to play in the big boy game. D-Hop's always been on, just a middle of the road to bottom tier, Texans, Arizona. Now he's with the Titans. I'm sure he came here, thought he was going to be the final piece to the puzzle to help him get over the hump. Mm-hmm. I would say he's done his part. I just think there's more to it than just a wide receiver. But you have to also consider, where is Burks at to me if you're going to make a trade with D-Hop?
Sure.
I really believe that because I want to make sure he's back, but I think he's supposed to start practicing maybe or running around. Just trying to read in between what people are saying when the reporters are asking Vrabel. So that's kind of where I'm at. I think that's all we really have that maybe, you can also, if some teams, and I know it may be, bad, but even Fulton. I think Fulton is a starting number 2 really solid corner in the National Football League. They can say what he wants. He's had some penalties, for whatever reason, but that's what I believe what he is most of the time. So, I think they may be able to get some. And then they can get him for cheap maybe. I don't know. You lose out because he was a second rounder, but you're not going to re-sign him.
Sure.
You're not.
You get nothing.
Yeah, so that's why I say I would put him on that chair too. Yeah.
Well, you were talking to me about, hey, man, the Autry thing is a good idea. The Fulton thing is just as good as an idea. He's already in your doghouse, and you're not bringing him back.
And you played Avery, and you didn't miss a beat, at least theoretically. And then you have, I know you released him, but you have Vildor kind of to be that veteran guy if Avery fades or fails at some point in time throughout the season where he loses a little bit of confidence, gets rough around the edges as far as his play. That's kind of what I would be thinking. Now, it has to be buyers. What I am saying is I would be a seller if I'm the Titans. I just don't think they are. I think Vrabel still believes that they can turn this thing around, and they play the AFC South, so they're going to have an opportunity here, later in the season. But those teams are doing a lot better. Not to say they're going to win or lose against the Titans, but they're doing way better than I expected this early in the season. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And here's why I say that I think Vrabel still believes that. I'm just reading his tea leaves. He said he thought we were going to win the game when Tannehill threw the interception. He thought we were going to drive it. I want him to believe that. But I watched the game from far, and I'm always going to be a neutral, not the homer guy. Baltimore Ravens controlled that entire game, pretty much. Now, did they let them off the hook and let them believe that they could still be in the game? Yeah, they did. Yeah. Because guess what? They didn't score touchdowns in the red zone, too. They're getting field goals most of the time. So, tip the cap to the Titans. I think that's kind of going around the league, too. That's something I asked about with Coach Mack about the red zone and people moving down the field but not giving up touchdowns. Kind of a theme in the NFL because the scoring is down. So that tells you that's what's going on. I really don't believe that. There was never a doubt to me that the Ravens were going to not win that game once the game started. There was not. I was hoping when they got it within a score, but you knew it wasn't going to happen, and he believed it. Now, from his view, he has to think that way. He has to, and I, as a fan of the Titans, that was no. Not with that old line and the Ravens and how they're built on their D line. I mean, Clowney looked phenomenal. Like, dang, why won't we have Clowney? He didn't look like that when he played with us. No. You say, well, why? Why? I don't know why. Why did he look like how he looked in this game? He had 2 sacks and 9 pressures. Mm-hmm. One player. But when, if for whatever reason, they get to the Titans, they don't look like that.
Yeah, I don't know if he
didn't look like
9
none
pressures
of that
when he was here. Like all the time he was here. He lost outside contain a lot, though. I know that.
Oh, he did.
That dude drifted in. He went straight to quarterback every time.
And he played mostly D tackle here. Mm-hmm. They didn't really use him at end as much as I think he probably wanted.
Oh, you know that rascal. I didn't come here to play
Maybe
D-tackle.
they moved him inside because he was losing contain.
Well, I'm sure he was like, I didn't come here to play D tackle. Have y'all seen me?
Well,
I didn't come here to play D tackle.
I saw him get a couple sacks. I think one was on Hubbard. I think one was on Dillard, maybe. I can't remember who was out there at tackle. But,
Dude was like, if I'm a D tackle, that means 2 big guys hit me on every play. I don't want anything to do with that. Yeah. Just put me so I can try to run around this guy out here on the outside.
Yeah. So the question is, should the Titans be sellers or buyers to me at this point in time right now? Because that tells you the thought process. And I think Vrabel's just going to fight it to the end. And he's never going to throw in the towel.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it's better to think about future then and still develop players at this point in time to be better for next season. Once you know, and I think he believes it's not over. And that, to his credit, they came back from a position like this before. Mm. I don't think this team is built like that team. I don't think they have the players, especially on the offensive line.
Yeah.
And that is the difference.
Joseph, what caught your attention from the sports world besides Blaine just convincing us all that it's time to just cut it loose?
I sent you guys this morning. These are stats of Ryan Tannehill with Derrick Henry on and off the field per Next Gen Stats. This is off of Tony Holzman-Escareno on Twitter. So Henry on the field, Ryan Tannehill with a 67.3 completion percentage, 9.1 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 101.4 passer rating, 25.6 pressure percentage, and 3 sacks. Now, with Derrick Henry off the field, he's got a 55.8 completion percentage, 5.5 yards per attempt, no touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 47.2 passer rating, 46.7 pressure percentage, and 16 sacks. 16 sacks compared to 3 with Derrick Henry on and off the field. You know what that catches my attention? That Derrick Henry is a good running back, and maybe he should be on the field a lot more than he already is.
Some of this, a little bit, might have at least something to do with he's not on the field a lot on third down when we just see the quarterback get destroyed a lot.
And that's when they're putting up pass rushes, schemes and systems to get after the quarterback on third down. Yeah, but that all has to do with that. Any passing situation inside of 2 minutes or at the end of a half, he's not on the football field. So, fans, everybody, stop asking why is he not on the field on 3rd and 3 or more. They've shown you that this is how they're going to use him at any point in time. And now that's keeping become less because they even let Tajay Spears out there on a first down.
Yeah.
I'd be griping about that. Like, why isn't he out there on first down? No, not on 3rd and 3 or more, man. He's not going to be out there. He's just not. Even though he could be a decoy, here's what people need to come to the realization. The King is a special talent, but he is limited in what he can and can't do. And that's just the facts. He's not a great pass blocker. So what's that say? They believe Tajay Spears is a better pass blocker.
Ugh.
Yeah. And that's real facts, though. That's real facts, though.
Did you see him get blown up against the Ravens?
Who?
Tajay Spears.
Oh, yeah. Guess what? The same thing would happen to the King. Yeah. Guess what? That dude is nasty. He going to stick his nose in there.
Who was the last Titans running back that was just like an absolute dominant pass blocker?
Ooh, that was hard to say. If you're talking about lead dogs, I don't know. Because first of all, you could say, well, that's not really their job, but they have to do it on
It is their job,
down.
though. It has to be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to stay on the field, it's got to be your job.
I mean, I played with the grade 80 yards. He had to work at it because guess what? He had never really done that even in college.
Yeah.
He was always the guy.
Yeah.
He was running the football.
At Ohio State, they weren't saying, hey, Edward, let's really work on this pass.
But what I got to give him credit is he was like, all right, let's run it again.
Yeah.
Let's run it again. And we're talking about one-on-one blocking. We're talking about linebackers, safety blitzing, him understanding it. And then he became, I thought, really good at it. So I don't know. To me, once you paid Derrick Henry, there was, even before that, I would have said, hey, man, we got to find a way to keep him on the field at third down.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that never happened. Because he's just a weapon even when he's not on the field. Even if you just have him step to the right and you act like you faking to him on your drop back. You know, you just he's drawing attention.
He's like a magnet.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, he's I guarantee you, most teams in this league believe Derrick Henry is still an elite running back. And I say that running back. So that's why I said, like, Dallas. People's going to hate it because guess what? Who do you go watch at the Nissan Stadium? Who do you want to see play? And you can hear it in the stands. It's Derrick Henry. It's not even close. So once you depart from that, this place is going to light up like a light, but they're going to be pissed. Right? If somebody offered me a third round, I'll be like, hey, man, we love you. Hey, when you come to the end, you're going to be a legend here, probably a Hall of Famer, but this is probably best for you and us. So, hey, sorry, but this is a business transaction. And it's a business for them, too, because they lose out on viewership, I mean, as far as people coming to the game.
Yeah.
Like that's why some decisions are made and not. So that's why I said they're going to ride this thing all the way down. To then they're going to be forced to implode. Do you want that to happen? I'm like, you want them to Bayer not here, King not here, Tannehill not here. You trade D-Hop, he's not here. Then you say, okay, you put the quarterback out there, then what does he have? Guess what? A whole bunch of young players that grow together, and eventually they'll be good by 2026 when we open up that new stadium.
Yeah.
That's how you got to think. And they be rocking and rolling by then. They be started 2 years in this league. Because right now, we in the middle to the bottom. I mean, with the injuries, we're a middle-no roster, and now with the injuries, it's getting below that.
Well, and you run the risk. I know this from having to try to sell tickets. If people are happy, they'll buy your tickets. If they're mad, if they're so mad, they're so interested enough to buy your tickets.
Well, guess what? That's why it may lean to Levis being a starter. Because guess what? He's going to be must show because they want to see how good he will or will not be.
Yeah.
See?
Oh, no, people will come to see that.
See? So then it flips from the king to, okay, let's go see this young quarterback and see what he's got.
What you don't want is apathy, and they're getting dangerously close to fans going, I could go on a hayride on Sunday. I ain't watching this. I go duck hunting. I could do a million other things. I could darn some socks. All right, what caught your attention in the sports world? We got Tristan in Brentwood. You want to join on the phone, 615-737-1045. I will also share mine. We'll get around to the rest of ours as well when we come back. You know what would be nice today or any day? Man, just get out on the water on your boat from your lake place. Or maybe you just sit out on the porch. Maybe you got yourself a nice swing out there. But you can't do that if you don't have your spot on the lake, right? Can't do it without the spot. Well, here's your time to get that spot you've been dreaming about. Saturday, October 28th, for the first time ever, some awesome deals on some awesome lake property. Limited number of lots available to the public, 2-acre wooded lots. Boy, that'd be a nice spot. Lake villa packages under $350. Last remaining sunset waterfront lots. Watch the sun go down over the lake. Woo! $50K off those rascals. And this is an awesome place with walking trails and a marina and a resort and all this great stuff and pickleball and pools and concerts. All about 20 minutes from Knoxville, and financing is available. You got to call now to secure a tour appointment, though. Times are limited for your chance to get this lake life and memories you've been dreaming about. Limited property release, Saturday, October 28th. Visit us now, lakelivingtn.com, or better yet, call now, 865-408-9992. Make an appointment and invest in something real. Blaine and Mickey, 1045 The Zone. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. The chat has just been full of chat today. People are chatting hard with each other. Just a hard
good.
chat.
Sometimes you got to have those hard chat conversations.
What
What are they saying? Because mine is frozen. I don't know why.
Just
Tannehill.
Tannehill stuff and get Brian Bishop in the front office, please. Start the rebuild. It's time to bring the dark days
we'll
back.
Be really screwed up. But guess what? We have some ballers. I'm going to tell you that right now. When they be talking about, Blaine, y'all got to trade some people, I'll be like, oh, we got a lot of value here.
Oh, yeah.
We going to have
These
some
are good
ballers.
players, man. I can't let them go for nothing.
Yeah. And we're going to have some A personality guys. That would be somewhat like how I was. So that, eat, yep, and talk, yeah, that dude. We're going to have them.
Let's see if Tristan is one of that dudes. What's going on, Tristan? Hey, before you ask a Titans question, have you turned your heat on in your house yet? I'm just curious.
No, I have not. I don't know. I haven't been here for a while because I've been working for Atlanta Braves in the retail industry.
Oh,
and,
man, the Braves.
and so, yes, I agree with Blaine that Derrick Henry is a great player, and we need to get the great value for trading him and Ryan Tannehill, or keep Derrick Henry for another year, but trade Ryan Tannehill and trade some players and get some draft picks and rebuild and get a quarterback for start Will Levis and give Mark if we can just. The season is over, so just get Marvin Harrison Jr. and get a receiver.
All right.
And then, trade up and get a quarterback because Caleb Williams may be a great quarterback, but this quarterback group is a great quarterback group, and we can find a quarterback.
Okay, thank you. Now, I don't know if Tristan knows, they just drafted a quarterback last year or the year before.
Right.
Just keep on drafting quarterbacks. So you hit on one.
Well,
Draft one in every
There is a
round.
philosophy in scouting, not the high, but that you draft a quarterback every other year, even if it's in the 5th through 7th round, and see if you may get lucky and get a guy at worst case scenario is a really, really good backup. You can get lucky and maybe he becomes a starter like Brock Purdy, right? So yeah, man, this is exciting time to me. Like just looking at players and to see what direction the organization goes. And I'm firmly going to, using Vrabel's word, continually to fight.
Mm-hmm.
See, all these things he's saying, I think, are telling us that this thing is not over. So until they do some form of action that says otherwise, they could be on the phone and taking calls and all of that. But until I see the white towel when they start making moves, then I know that's what they're doing. But for right now, I don't think they're going to go down the road. But that's what I would do. I definitely would.
The nutty thing about it is the best they could be if they beat the Falcons in 2 weeks is they could be 3-4 at the trade deadline. They could be 3-4. So,
which could still say you're in the hunt in the AFC South.
So that's in the worst case scenario, you're 2-5. So I would just have to wonder, what are the conversations they're having down there? Gosh, if we win that third game, then let's try to hold off. But gosh, if we lose, then here's all the scenarios. Let's unload this guy, but for this, and this guy for this. They got to be having some hard conversations down there right now. And like you said, Vrabel's like, no, I want to win this year. I don't want to do any of this stuff, but try to win this year. Let's get some people healthy. Let's see what we can do. Let's get Burks back. But there has to be some Rand and some other people having a conversation like, okay, I wonder what this guy's worth. I'm going to make a couple of phone calls. Let me pick up hey, what do you think this guy's worth if we were to trade him? What about this guy?
Well, they have all those analytical guys, and I think they don't even have to make phone calls to really see what their actual value is. There's a value chart. Now, what can you actually get for them? Do you get less for their value or do you get more? To me, is the question of why you pick up the phone. Because some teams are in different situations, some a little more desperate than others, depending on where they want to be at the position that they're inquiring about or that you're inquiring to them about with the Titans. So, yeah, this one's going to be a tough call. But as I said before, I would have made the move this offseason. As I said, I would say we're rebuilding. They didn't. They continue to move forward and thinking that they could patchwork this roster with those superstars and continue to win. Unfortunately, I think the O-line and leading the way as Dillard is really the issue Most of it, and then sometimes just the Titans defense just laying an egg last week. That was horrendous. I don't know what's going on, man. It's almost like they're not inspired to play, or something's missing here that I have no idea what's going on. But that wasn't supposed to happen. That close game. It could have been a close game and a loss, but not the way they beat them, Vrabel way. They beat the Titans how Vrabel, and the Titans usually beat the Colts.
Sure.
They out physical them, and that is a bad sign.
Ravens ran for 139 against them. They keep getting out physical, basically. Like we said, the Titans play Vray ball, and the Colts kicked them in the Vray balls. Then the Ravens leaned on them pretty. Yeah, we should have just gone to the commercial. Then the Ravens leaned on them pretty heavy last week too.
That was our calling card. That's why I'm asking, what's the identity?
Yeah.
And then he said the identity is to keep fighting, to out physical people, because he know they haven't done it.
Yeah. You
knew he had it
can't.
wrong. He's going to say out physical. No,
he didn't say that.
Coach, that hasn't happened. Y'all don't have the guys do that.
Charles is on the line. Tony, Evan, hold. It's a quick break. We'll come back. We'll take phone calls to start the second hour. We'll continue to talk about things that are catching our attention. Your thoughts on the Titans and more. Coach Mack is coming up in about 25 minutes.
Just because summer is over, that doesn't necessarily mean your to-do list is. The Cool Ray team is here to help, and they'll waive the service fee if your visit requires a repair. Are you having a plumbing problem that popped up out of nowhere? Well, their plumbing team has you covered. Have an electrical issue you've been putting off? Well, the electrical team at Cool Ray can be there for you as well. And of course, if you have an HVAC unit that's starting to struggle, they can repair that all while waiving the service fee. And you can still save up to $1,250 on brand new Timstar home comfort systems. Plus, they boost the 10-year parts and labor warranty on new Timstar home comfort systems. So schedule your next visit online at coolray.com. No phone call, no wait, no worries. You picked a date and time that works for you. That's coolray.com.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Happy Tuesday to you. Coach Mack coming up in about 20 minutes. The boys were in our ears saying, Julio got traded, is that right?
He signed with the Eagles.
Oh, he signed with the Eagles. So he was just out there. He signed with the Eagles, per the Eagles. Got a picture of him, Julio, in his Bucks uniform from last year.
Oh, so he
was just hanging out, I guess.
Oh, he was just chilling.
Yeah.
Oh, now he's with the Eagles like they just needed more weapons, right?
They now
Well,
have,
they lost that game to the Jets. You got to make some changes.
They now have the Titans 2021 wide receiver duo.
Yeah, Julio and A.J. Brown.
How much did getting rid of AJ just unravel this thing?
So much.
Because a lot of people say that was it for me. That's it.
I constantly watch that video of Mike Vrabel getting up during draft night and just looked like he was just defeated. Just walk away from his chair. J-Rob's sitting there with a smirk on his face, and Vrabel just looks defeated.
He wanted a lot of money. But it sounds like he would have taken less to stay here, just with what he said afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wasn't looking for this much money staying in Tennessee.
So how much do you think that would have been?
What do you wind up getting? 25?
5. He definitely wouldn't get.
He wasn't getting 25 here.
So you think he? Remember, I kept on saying 18 to 20.
GM Blaine. Yeah, that you landed there. Yeah.
And I was at 18 for the longest, and I kept on saying I wouldn't give him more than 20. It's because we don't throw the ball enough to allot that amount of money.
It wasn't a him thing. It was a what we do thing. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I think they made that decision. And then they overrated, like, well, we can just plug some. No, you can't. But this guy's only getting like 5-6 balls a game, and he's turning that into big yardage.
Oh, your thing was, look, if you live 2 blocks from where you work, and it's a school zone all the way between it, why would you buy a Corvette?
Right.
Right.
To drive every day.
You could have a moped or a smart car.
You could ride a bike.
That's what your system dictates.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not running some kind of thoroughbred.
And then he told him, I'm sure his agent said, hey, man, if we don't, we're not going to show up. We're going to get fined.
Yeah.
So it was going to become a big deal. So I think that's why JR, I felt like that probably was the only move he thought he could make. Now, did they draft the right guy or sign the right players and all that is a whole nother story. Because I didn't like the Julio. I was adamant I did not want that Julio deal.
Well, your thing about him was he's been great. But these are soft tissue things.
And then the last 2 years, it just didn't go away. He was having injuries with foot, hamstrings. I mean, it's just like, And then you gave up a second? Nah. Now, if we were talking about a 4th or a 5th, I might have done it. Not a second. That was damaging. But I think from JR's point of view, I think he thought, I'm going for it. This is the last piece to the puzzle to help us get to the Super Bowl. I really believe that's what he thought. And I can see how he could think that. And I don't think Vrabel was ever on board with the Julio Jones deal, let alone the A.J. Brown trade, as we already talked about. But, yeah. Man, that could be the trigger.
They're just that comes up every day in the chat. Every day somebody in the chat says everything blew up. You want me to tell you when I thought it was?
Don't say when Weston got the DUI.
Nope.
Who?
Oh, no. I mean, they're just as bad. They're worse offensively. They're running fewer plays per game now than they did last year, 6 games in. If they really could have had Tom Brady, and they didn't, when he went to the Bucs, and there was all the speculation that this could have been a place for him, if they really, and all due respect to Ryan Tannehill, because he said, nice run here. But if you could have had Tom Brady and you didn't, then that's where everything unraveled to me.
Oh, so that was before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could have had Tom Brady and you didn't, and I don't know, I wasn't in the room. I don't know. Maybe he told Vrabel, like, hey, man, you and me, we'd kill each other. I'm going to go some. I don't, maybe he didn't.
That was the year before. Yeah, because that was when everybody thought Tom Brady was talking about Tannehill, right?
When he said that mother bleeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, you picked that mother bleeper over me.
Yeah. Well, you know I had all my chips in with Tom Brady because, I mean, his resume speaks for itself. And I know players that know him and say, hey, man, this dude is the real deal.
Yeah.
And when it gets in the clutches of clutches moments, he usually shines even more.
Look at the Bucs historically without him.
No, not the Bucs.
Look at the Patriots.
Yeah.
Belichick,
Yeah.
who has a losing record in his career without Tom Brady.
He's gone back to what he was when he was at Cleveland. And before Tom Brady got there, is that he was a middle-of-the-road coach or a little bit above that. I saw somewhere where he's going to have the most losses if he continues to have like a handful more losses.
It's 6 or 8 away. He could get it this year. It's Jeff Fisher and somebody else are
But
tied.
that's longevity, though,
Yeah.
right? You know, when you get in, you're going to win a whole bunch. You're going to lose a whole bunch, too.
He's losing a whole bunch right now. He's catching up on his losing.
What do you think Tom Brady's doing right now? When somebody asks him that question, hey, man, the team hasn't had success since you left the New England Patriots. I'm sure it pains him and hurts him, but at the same time, he's got to be chuckling. Like,
Oh, I'll be chuckling.
yeah.
Because it was him and Dad who fought, and Grandpa eventually
made the decision.
made the decision. I'm gonna let my grandson go, and Dad can stay. You know, it's son, Dad, and Granddad. That was
Remember what I said? When we
trio.
get this divorce, I wanted the divorce really bad.
Mhm.
I banged. I wanted them. I said, because they're going to see Tom Brady is different. He's a special cat. And the reason why I had a little insight even more, not only from players in the league that played with him, I had someone, my own blood relative, play with him at Michigan and said, this dude is built different. He says he was built like he had stones all day. He said they were benching this dude and then put in his senior year and then put a young 5-star guy in there and started him. And he'd go out there at the end of the games and drive us right down and score. He said he never said a peep. He never said a peep. He just looked at it and he would smile. Yeah. Mm-hmm. How you like me? It was cool customer. Did it the whole entire time. He said eventually I thought he was just going to be like, hey, man, I got to, players looking around like, man, I know they're not going to bench him. I mean, they and then they started, and then I know they're going to start him in now. I mean, nope.
No.
They waited to the end. Week 10. Mm-hmm.
Let's grab a couple of these phone calls here. Tony the stud was kind enough to hold through the break. Hey, Tony, what's going on?
I would have lost it.
What's going on, guys?
Hey.
I wanted to talk about Tennessee, Alabama, but I'll give you my opinion on the Titans real quick.
Yeah.
It's just a wonderful conversation. I say blow it up and start Levis until you can't start him no more.
Yeah.
Until he's not good enough to play. I mean,
Okay. Is that because you never wanted Levis? Where's the
I
angle?
know I wanted Levis.
Oh, okay.
Done with the, like it's like you look at Malik, and like Malik came in, and it's not a lift. Like that scares me personally. That Levis is third on the depth chart right now, and it wasn't Levis; it was still Malik. Like that's concerning to me. So I'm just, if Ryan can't get back for Falcons or the week thereafter, blow it up, just trade these guys, get the value that we can, because we're hurting for money anyways. But that's for maybe another day this week. If I'll call back, maybe I'll talk to you about that. But I wanted to ask y'all, man, what y'all think about this Alabama-Tennessee game, because the SEC and the landscape of the SEC and the way that we know it and have grew up with it is going to change next year. Adding Texas and Oklahoma and the way the conference realignment's going to be. And this is, to me, this is Tennessee's, I think, last opportunity to salvage, a shot at any sort of title this year. I don't think that they're, one of the best 4, 5, 6 teams in the country right now. But I'm excited about this, and I think I'm more concerned on who do you guys think the better quarterback is in this matchup? Because I think whoever you guys think the better quarterback is, I think is going to win that game. Go Vols!
There you go.
Mickey, which quarterback are we talking about? Milrose? I would say he's definitely a better runner. Milton's probably a better thrower. I don't know. His accuracy's been really good this year, considering what we're competing against, what he used to look like. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. His running ability at home in Alabama that's going to be a tough one. Offensively, the team just doesn't give you the threat. They have 3 new pieces at receiver, pretty much with Brew McCoy, Tillman, Wyatt, Hyatt, and then he lost both his offensive tackles. Just the offense doesn't look as potent. They don't look in rhythm. Something's missing, and I don't know what it is. Is it how people are playing them? And then that's helping the running game, saying, hey, you're not getting any big plays, but we'll give you these running plays, and we'll stay in games and play you from 20 to 20, and then hopefully you make a mistake and try to force something, like what happened in the red zone. To me, that was a horrible throw.
Yeah.
And horrible, not just throw, decision. That was a horrible decision by Milton. That guy stood in the middle of the field before the snap and moved back 3 steps on the throw. Like, where did you think he went? I'm like, did you thought you was gonna squeeze that in there? That means now you're forcing it. Like somebody else, throw it on the outside where it's 1-on-1 and make jump ball and they get it. They get an interception that way, fine. He was standing right there. Like those are the ones you go like, did you not see him? What was your pre-snap read? That's the kind of conversation you're having. What was your pre-snap read? I'm like, man, that Hooker was not making those mistakes. Here's what I love. Because everybody looks at all these stars and everything else. That doesn't mean they're the better football player. If you put Milton in a contest against Hooker on anything about throwing, athleticism, all of that, he wins probably almost everything. But Hooker was the better player.
If they had a
smarter.
decathlon, Milton would whip him.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's you got to be a quick thinker. It's about how you manage games as quarterbacks, making accurate throws consistently, not the bombs. You're going to make more throws at 15 to 20 in sharp pass range than anything else.
Mm.
So people need to get out of all these, I'm going to call them measurables to players. Doesn't mean he's the better player. And we just had a good example right there on the Titans. Dillard, athletically, is off the charts for a tackle.
Mm.
You say, well, what's going on? Remember I kept saying, why is he available? Something must be missing.
Yeah.
And we don't know about it. And I still don't know what was missing besides he couldn't anchor. To me, that should be easily fixable, at least in the window that he had.
Mm.
I'm like, well, dang, are they telling him how to anchor, or is he just not doing it? Is he mentally tough? Is he a tough son of a gun? You got to be a nasty, dirty dog when you play in an offensive line. I'm sorry. And that becomes contagious. So who is a nasty, dirty dog on the Titans offensive line? And I don't see none of them pancaking people right around the pile, and they're like, oh, dang, he's already down. And then they still pancake him. Boy, we had some our own players would pancake us at practice. We would get lit. Our defensive line be like, Blaine, man, they up a double down. This dude pancaked me. I was like, hey, man, well, then don't let him do that. They be like, nah, man, we about to get raw. We about to go at it. We had some mean dogs, and that helped us become mean. We only had one elite dog, and that was Javon.
Yeah.
As far as ability.
Right. Where God just stuck a lightning bolt up his butt and said,
Everybody
you're
else
different
were
than everybody
workmanlike.
else. Yeah.
Workmanlike. From Fiskey to Josh Evans to, you name it. Thornton. We had that, yeah. Salavea. We talking about the D tackles. I ain't even went on the edge. That's Kenny Holmes. And that offensive line was nasty.
Yeah, his offensive line.
Runyon and B-Hop and Bruce, Benji, Zach.
Yep.
Dangerous. I stayed as far as away I could away from them dudes in practice. When they start grappling, blah, 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 blah. Nope. Y'all had that. Your big guys, y'all handle that.
All right, let's have Coach Mack. He knows those guys. Let's get him into the show next for this discussion. Still got a lot of phone calls. Last segment, we can take all your phone calls before we say goodbye. But let's say hello to Coach Mack, get his thoughts on the Titans as they head into bye week next.
Mack.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. You hear the music, you know what that means. It's time for Coach Mack, brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, Middle Tennessee's most trusted local Ford dealership for 40 years. Coach Mack, fresh off his trip to London with the Titans. Coach, I know the game didn't turn out the way anybody wanted it, but good talking to you. And what was your favorite maybe thing about London on this particular visit?
Well, I mean, this is my fifth time over there with the team, but the NFL has got this down so well. The trip was fabulous. First of all, from the Titans end of it, our ops crew, Brent Akers and his ops crew, and then John Albertson and his security crew, working with the National Football League. I mean, that whole trip was seamless. Going over there, the accommodations were great. I mean, we flew Virgin Atlantic, and I mean, they're very, very professional. The trip itself was fantastic. And then, the events leading up to the game. I mean, the event that they had Saturday night at the Admiralty downtown close to Trafalgar Square for Titans fans was completely, it was crazy. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was 3 full floors of Titans fans from every country that you can imagine. Everything surrounding the game. And then Tottenham itself. That's the first time I've been to Tottenham. And, it sits right in the middle of a working-class neighborhood, and it is a beautiful facility. I mean, it's a fabulous facility. So the trip itself and everything surrounding it was absolutely – you could not have asked for more from the Titans end of it and from the Titans fans, and also you couldn't have asked more from it from the National Football League. That part of it was absolutely great. I enjoyed every bit of that.
Now that the team is back, I was listening to you and Rhett, and you guys were kind of wrapping up things on Sunday before you packed up the gear and you came back. You used the word reset because he said, what happens now? You got a bye week. What happens? And you used the word reset and kind of talked about what these next few days is going to look like. What all is going to happen over these next few days, Coach?
Well, first of all, they've got to get healthy. And, different guys, as you heard the head coach say, and he was right, I've done this before too, at this juncture, at your open day, different guys are on different schedules now because of injuries, where they are. We've got an injury to the quarterback, so that's clearly going to affect, the other two young quarterbacks with the type of work that they get. And then you look, and it's, people say, well, do you do a lot of self-scouting during this time? You do, but basically it's a compilation of things that you've been working on, and you self-scouted yourself every week. I mean, and so this is a chance to get some people healthy that haven't been healthy, but also, you kind of reset and you refocus. And by 6 games, where you've been deficient, and the things that you've been close on, and the things that you haven't been close on, and you've got to kind of bring those things together. That's what a reset is. But it goes all the way from the physical to the mental to then the preparation and the things that you're going to work on the field. And there's still a lot of this season left, but you've got to win ball games one time a week. And so this week they've got to focus on the Titans. That's what they need to focus on this week.
Coach Mack, our guest, focusing on Blaine and Mickey as he does this same time every week.
Well, Coach, naturally, tough loss there to the Ravens, and naturally their defense and especially their front seven was really getting after the Titans. They eventually took Dillard out, put MPF in there, and just what did you see the difference? I know PFF had them graded up around about the same, but it seemed like it was better with MPF out there. What were your thoughts when calling a game, when mentioned watching the offensive line battle, in particular MPF and Dillard? What was
I
the
thought
difference?
He looked a little stronger in the run game. Blaine, just looking at it, of course it's different over there on that left side. With the pass sets. And then when you get the score separated, we've talked about this strategically about National Football League football. When you get the score separated and those guys can put their hands in the ground and come after you, then, wherever you're playing the left or the right side, you're going to have to basically block them for pass rush and games constantly. But I thought when he first went in there, he made, he looked like he was getting some push, with Skoronski on that left side in the run games. And of course, again, they made the switch. They made the switch because they clearly saw something that they didn't like what was going on, and they wanted to see, what he could do in there. You got this week and next week to try to kind of sort that out. But, I didn't concentrate on him specifically, but I did notice a little bit more push early on in the run game on that left side, Blaine.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It looked like MPF was the better player, at least going into the running game. Man, naturally, Tannehill got banged up there, towards the end. I guess first and foremost, before we move forward, if that was Tannehill's last game, what would you say is Ryan Tannehill's legacy as a Titan?
Well, I think he helped this franchise, get back on track. I mean, when he came in that third quarter against Denver. All of a sudden, I mean, we've been to playoff games. We've won the division. I mean, he helped this thing get back on track and kind of solidified, what was going on through a transitional period. I mean, he really did. And I think Ryan Tannehill is a professional quarterback. He's a professional quarterback, and you do know one thing, that you're going to get everything from him as far as preparation wise, and he's got a singular focus every week. I mean, he's not a distracted guy at all. I don't know how long he will be out. That was an ugly look. That he got taken down from behind. Really, that looked kind of like a horse collar type tackle injury without being a horse collar. You know what I'm saying? From behind with the legs buckling and then catching underneath. But I mean, Ryan Tannehill has helped this team win a lot of games in his time here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're on with Coach Mack, giving us the Mack attack.
Coach, what all have you seen with the red zone struggles? What all has added up to having, 2 of their last 8 over the last 2 games, touchdowns in the red zone?
Well, I think it's a myriad of things. First of all, I mean, when you get penalties and you push yourself back there, that doesn't help you at all. The other thing is we've only had a couple of people score touchdowns. You've been able to move the ball down there, and you've been in, you've had 3 shots sometimes from down inside the low red zone and have not been able to get anything done. So, I mean, I don't think it's one singular thing, but I do know this. Being a defensive coach, you got a lifetime defensive player right there with you. You do know that defensively, they can't. There's a lot of things they can't do down there. So you're going to pack things in there, and you're not going to back up, and so you have to be pretty precise. The ball's got to come out quick. You can't hold it. Your protection's got to be on point. Everything that you do has to be so much more magnified and on point, and they just have not been able to get that done. And you look back at some of these games, and I'm not one about revisionist history, but you score, a touchdown in a couple of these games when you're down there rather than either not getting points or just kicking. We've kicked a lot of field goals. We've kicked way too many field goals from the low red zone so far in 6 weeks.
Coach, I want to add to that, though. Do you think this is becoming somewhat of a trend? I'm not watching all the games, naturally, but it seems as though teams are defensively are kind of satisfied with, 20-20, but when we get in the red zone, we're going to stiffen up and we're going to have better defense because they don't have a lot of options. Reason why I say that is because scoring is down in the National Football League in general. So I think most teams are having these same issues, and that's where people are concentrating, at least on defensive side of, they may be able to move the ball with all these passing games and different things they're doing to get down the field. But when it gets to the red zone 20 and in, it's going to be much more difficult and kind of focus their attention on that. Do you think this is part of the reason, not just to the Titans, but in the league?
I think you're 100% right, Blaine. All you got to do, if you know anything about defensive football, is just watch it. Just watch that game that was played last night. I mean, you can see it all. You can see it all around the league. I mean, go back to the things that we used to do on defense. When you were playing, when I was coaching,
desert.
I see some of the things still. Yeah, you play deserts. You go down there and you play red 8. I mean, you can squeeze things down there. 5. And then if people are gonna try to run it in on you down there, and they're gonna have to run it, you can pack people in there, and you basically get a 10-man front because if you just got one wide receiver spread out, you have a 10-man front. If you got 2 spread out, you'll have an 11-man front because the safeties are involved. I mean, you don't have far for those safeties to fill down there either. So your point is 100% correct. That's why you have to be so precise offensively, down there. And first of all, the thing that you work to get down there, but then you've really got to concentrate and work to get it into the end zone because, as I said, and it's not just wishing about things. It's just thinking of the reality of it. You look at the Titans and think back on the games that we've been in the low red zone and have come away with a field goal instead of a touchdown. A touchdown would have flipped several of those games, which is pretty common sense.
Hanging out with Coach Mack here on Blaine and Mickey. So for the Titans, obviously this year hasn't started the way that anybody down there wants it to. You got a bye week, then you play the Falcons, and then 4 days later you have to play another game. But in between that is the trade deadline. What kind of conversations have to go on organizationally, Coach, with a team who the season is not going the way they want, or any team for that matter, ahead of the trade deadline?
Well, whether it's going your way or not, as far as wins or losses, you're always trying to look to churn and chum your roster. So it goes on. Those conversations are had daily.
Yeah.
I mean, they're had daily. The Titans, not unlike every other team in the league, have had players in to work out every week, and so you're constantly trying to manipulate your roster, and depending on where now a lot of it depends on what's available, what other people are trying to do with their roster. It depends on your salary cap situation, but the constant evolvement of a roster, you never ever start a season and just stay pat with what you got. And in this day and age, you really are no different than any other team. I mean, they've had players in every week, for workouts, and they've got extensive pro personnel departments that are constantly canvassing other teams to try to improve our team. That's just the way it is now.
Coach Mack hanging out with us, giving us the Mack Attack here on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, Coach, naturally, when Tannehill got knocked out, Willis came in there towards the end of the game there in the fourth quarter. And, he kind of was in a tough situation with the Ravens defense and being at the end of the game, knowing that they're going to pass the football a lot. What did you think of Willis's play put in kind of that situation with not a lot of experience?
Well, first it was a tight spot for him because and the points you bring up, and you know football in this league, they knew he was going to have to throw, and they know he's a young quarterback, so they were coming after him. Yeah. And they weren't coming after him. They were coming after him with a 4-man rush, but they were 4-man and gaming it and mugging up. So but they weren't playing the run at all because they did not have to. That's why we were able to pounce on them with that one screen pass. Because they were flogging back there in the backfield, and what he's got to know, and I'm sure he was told, is when you're in that situation, they're coming after you. You can't wait for them to come open. You got to get rid of it. You got to get rid of it because they are coming at you. And again, I mean, he found out some of this last year, and he found it out again. They're at Tottenham. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're in London or whether you're in the United States or wherever you're playing. Defensive players in this league can walk you down. There's a very few quarterbacks that can run away from defenses at the second and the third level.
That guy was on the other side of the field. He's one of them.
Yeah. We that's what I say. We played one of them. You can see that. And there's a couple in the league, but not everybody can. Mm-hmm. For the greater majority of it, they can walk you down, so you've got to be able to get rid of it unless you've really got a clear view. And most of your clear view to being able to run it is going to be up inside when they're in man coverage and their back is turned to you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're on with Coach Mack. I guess last one for me is I saw that they were reporting there on NFL Network, well, this was the first time teams had a choice to have a bye after the London game or not. Kind of take us through, I think the Jaguars and the Ravens said no to the bye, and I guess they're pushed theirs back to another date. But explain to me what goes into when you're a coach, how you're looking at that decision before the season starts if you want to bye immediately after the London game.
Well, first of all, you're looking at where it comes during your schedule, and then also what you've got to declare and figure out is, the Jaguars I think made a good decision with it just because the fact they stayed over there. They stayed over there for 2 weeks. Right. They basically stayed over there for 2 weeks, so they basically were able to not. It wasn't as drastic. I think Baltimore did it for a couple of reasons. First of all, they already went over there. They went over there, for a longer period of time, which is neither here nor there. But also, it's a little bit different when your flight is not anything from the East Coast. Anything if you're on an East Coast team, that flight's not as long. Okay, that flight's not quite as long. When you have to come back. And so, and to me, I always thought if it was in the middle of the season or in the first quadrant of the season, if you're over there, it's always advantageous to have an open date when you come back, just because. And the Titans made the right choice there because they've got some injuries now that you're going to get a chance, within the next 12 days here to possibly get some players back. But everybody looks at and you have detailed discussions on it. The 31 years that I coached and the years that we went over there, we would have detailed discussions on it. Depending on where our roster was, at the time going in. Of course, you have to make decisions before the fact, before you go over there and do it. But I think it's an individual organization decision, and everybody has got their own reasons for doing it either way.
There you have it, Coach Mack giving us the Mack attack.
Coach, thank you as always. Does Coach Mack get a bye week? You're going to go do some Coach Mack stuff somewhere?
No, not much of a bye week. We still got radio, and we still got TV stuff to do, and before we know it, guys, this open date is going to be going into the Atlanta game. So once the season starts, you're pretty much locked in until the season's over. And so my answer to your question, that long answer, is no. I got stuff to do.
You got Mack
You
talk
locked
to
in.
do. That's right. Tonight, right here on this station with Rhett Bryan. Coach, we'll be tuning in and look forward to talking to you next week.
Guys, great talking to you. See you.
Yes, sir. The one and only Coach Mack. All right, when we come back, we'll try to take the last couple of phone calls. Also, the Hitman has been saying now for several days that he feels like defense, well, it's the year of defense in the NFL. Guess what? There are a bunch of stats that back that up. I will share some of those next.
Oh, in the red zone?
Everywhere. Blaine and Mickey, we're having a good time. Blaine's having a real good time watching defense this year.
Oh, yeah, I am. Yeah, especially when I was watching UT's defense get after it. Woo-hoo! Where was all those fireworks? Boy, old Mr. Hyper was happy about that defense, boy. It saved the day.
They saved his bacon.
I never led by Tyler Barron, boy. They were getting it. Well, your man Pierce, he got player of the week, didn't he? He had a couple sacks.
I never even got to say what caught my attention. It was the Vols winning with defense like that. 13 points they allowed.
Ooh, secondary. All of a sudden, everybody loves Haddon, huh?
Yeah. Most popular guy on the team.
Hey, he learned.
See, look,
He's
we get the
coachable.
true fandom.
Yeah, oh yeah. Like he learned to turn his head around, and I am so happy for him because he's playing like he can.
Yeah,
Like
no
an
different
owl.
than Fulton. See that? It's just, you're the hero or you're the zero, man. That's the life of being corner.
Vols defense held A&M to 277 yards, 5 of 15 on third down. They picked Max Johnson twice, and they hit him again just now.
He got hit every play.
11. I think it was 11 QB hits officially, but it was.
Yeah, Jimbo's he's on the hottest of hot seats, man. There's no way. He's an offensive guy.
And he's offensive right now. His offense is offensive.
Yeah, they're not good. But that defense was balling for UT, so we got to give them props.
Yeah.
And all the defense kind of balling in the NFL, right?
How about this? The league is averaging 5.2 yards per play this season. That's the smallest amount since week 6 of 2006.
Whoa, 2006?
Yep. Also, the fewest touchdowns, because you keep saying, it's like they get to the red zone, then they don't do anything.
Yeah, not
Here
just the
you
Titans,
go.
but it's everybody. The Ravens were the same way.
This is from CBS
Well, ask
Sports.
Coach Mack that.
We've also seen the fewest touchdowns scored at this point in the season since 2010.
Yeah, so people went this offseason and said, well, we may not be able to stop from 20 to 20, but we're gonna destroy them in the red zone. Because it's hard. It's hard in the red zone. Matter of fact, I remember when we got in the red zone, guys would be like, oh, they neck start getting stiff, and you're like, oh, we got to stop them. I would relax. I said, oh, now the job is easy. See, from my view as
It's
a
a
safety,
little box right here
I
now.
don't have to backpedal nowhere. I backpedal, they got to throw over my head. And that was easy sometimes, but most of the time not.
Last night in the Chargers game, the Chargers got down there a couple times, and Dallas just locked them down.
Yeah. Man,
And Dallas had an opportunity to kick a field goal at one point late in the game and went for it on fourth down and didn't get it and could have gone up, 13-10, I think, at that point. People are just like, no, we're going to go for it. They went for it. They didn't get it. And it wasn't the Chargers who made the dumb decision that time. It was a close to the vest game. Read the room, man. Just kick the chip shot field goal and be ahead. They didn't do it. Also, the lowest point total per game for NFL offenses, 21.7 points per game. That's the lowest since 2017.
Oh, so the Titans aren't far off of the average. It's a
like 5 points
5
off.
points.
But still, the average
lot.
of the whole
I mean,
league is 21.7.
So if they could just get 21 points this year.
If they could get 20, we figured it out last year. Remember, if they could have scored 20 points per game, they would have moonwalked into the playoffs last year.
So it's even harder this year.
If they averaged the league average of 21.7. So if they scored 21 or 22 points per game, great things would happen around here.
Oh, man,
But you-
that seems like that should happen.
It is
Most
not
of the
happening.
time, unless you play like the Browns. You know, I had to watch. Who did the Browns play? The 49ers. I had to watch that game. I was all in on that game. I was trying to, this counts for 2 games for your 49 in a row or whatever. I was all in because I wanted to see if the Browns were going to destroy their defense, going to destroy the 49ers offense with a really good offensive line and a really good quarterback, a young quarterback. And, man, they got after him. They didn't take over the game, but they were having spot duty play like, okay, we're going to turn this up, and guys are getting sacks and harassing Purdy, making some bad throws, forcing them to make bad throws. So it was there.
The Browns
They
have
won.
the Browns have allowed the fewest total yards by any team through 6 games since 1971.
All I'm going to say is 2 words. Do you know what they are?
Jim Schwartz.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jim Schwartz. They can say what they want to say, but that guy
Maybe they
is
kept
a
the
bad
wrong defensive
man.
guy.
He's a bad man.
Let's squeeze in a phone call or two. Evan in Antioch. What's going on? Hey, do you have the heat turned on in your house yet, Evan?
No, I do not. I live very cold right now. I cannot sleep with the heat on.
See, that's how my wife is.
Okay.
Too. Yeah.
What else you got for us, man?
No, that's right. It was the Sunday on the London game. It was a tweet that I saw that highlighted the Titans draft classes of 2020, 2021, and 2022. And it just made my heart sing because it's like being dealt a bad poker hand, but you have to go all in every single time. And it just hurts my heart. But finally, I got a question for Blaine because I'm with you. I'd rather ride with Will Levis just to see what we have. My question to you would be, what would you want to see out of Will Levis, even though he might struggle throughout the year, that would make you say, okay, we can look forward to keep going forward with this guy instead of potentially looking for another quarterback in the draft class. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Man, I'm going to say this. This is kind of a not being there, working with a player individual is really hard to say, but I'm almost he would have to really stink it up for me to think that he can't be the starter next year. Like me not moving forward with him.
Yeah.
And go draft another quarterback after all the resources we did to get him. So he'd have to really stink it up. Now, as far as his quarterback play, I got to know going into it, it's going to be a roller coaster ride. I want to see progress. I want to see him, go through his progression reads and get better each and every rep. And I'm talking about in-game, live games. And continue to grow and get better and learn from his mistakes and see if that's happening. Because really your judgment of a player is always based off not only their success, but also on their failures. And to me, more so that and how they respond to that. And it's in particular the quarterback. And then I want to know where his acumen is as a quarterback and understanding this offense and where the weaknesses and the strengths of each and every single freaking play. And you hit it on time every time, regardless. And then I want to see how smart you are outside of the pocket, unlike Malik Willis, who's shown us numerous times that he's not the sharpest guy in a quick thinking moment. He should have ran out of bounds there. They throw it away, run out of bounds. I want to see him in those kind of situations where the last minute you got to know where your safety valve is, or you got to know if you're outside the pocket and you can throw it away. And you got to get it back past the line of scrimmage. So those are kind of the things I'm watching. I want to see your mobility, but I also want to see you drop back and let it rip. And don't be afraid to make a mistake. And sometimes that's really hard, especially, and I'm going to give it the term, coaches kind of overcoach you, not to make a mistake. Well, then now the player kind of tenses up and says, okay, I just don't want to make a mistake. Well, if I'm Levis, I'm like, okay, where are you going? You're going to Willis? All right, well, I got this. Once I'm the guy, I'm like, okay, I'm going to let it rip. Because if you start hesitating and trying not to make a mistake, that's when you do make a mistake. Quarterback is really a mental game and how quickly you can think in quick moments throughout a play, even though things change throughout the time of a play before your pre-snap. So, yeah, those are the things I'm really looking for. I hope they don't play conservative with him.
Yeah.
Don't. And to me, that tells you don't believe in him. But sometimes you got to let him fall. And this is the time to let it happen.
Joseph said our normal outro music is not working. So we're leaving people with a different song today.
What?
The button froze up, I guess. I don't know.
What is this?
You don't know me, but I'm your brother.
This is kind of sad.
Don't be sad. 3HL's coming
I
up
want
next.
to be excited. I was just pumped up about that answer and that question, and then you leave me with this. So, dang, man. I hope it goes well for Will Levis.
Let's take it to the streets. Leave it for 3HL.
Malik Willis, one of the two. But in the meantime.
In between time.
Peace.